Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. It's time for TWiT's annual audience survey, and we want to hear from you. Please visit twit.tv/survey and let us know what you think. It only takes a few minutes, and your anonymous feedback will help us make TWiT even better. We thank you so much for your continued support. twit.tv/survey. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is our Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks Saturday, March 28th, 2015. This is episode 1173. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Prosper. Prosper is a peer-to-peer lending marketplace that connects people who are looking to borrow money with those who have money to lend. Visit prosper.com/twit and receive a $50 Visa gift card when you get a loan. And by Blue Apron. Blue Apron will send you all the ingredients to cook fresh, delicious meals with simple step-by-step instructions right to your door. See what's on the menu this week and get your first 2 meals free by going to blueapron.com/twit. That's blueapron.com/twit. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk about computers and the internet. Computer seems like kind of an old-fashioned word now, actually. Oh, I have a computer. It sounds like, I don't know, I have a steam engine. I mean, you do. I mean, it's obvious these are computers, our smartphones and our tablets, our microwave ovens. But do you think of your smartphone as a computer? No. Well, maybe you do. I don't know. Old-timer like me does, because even now, when they're talking about the stuff, like the Internet of Things, they call it. The wired up thermostat and the wired up refrigerator and the wired up garage door. They don't say computer. They say the Internet of Things. But each and every one of those is a computer, in the purest sense of the word. But computer sounds like it's computing. I haven't thought of it. This just struck me. I'm sorry. We also talk about the internet. That's a little more modern. Needs computers, though. The internet. It's made of computers. Amazing. Home theater. Scott Wilkinson will be joining us in a half an hour to talk about that. Digital photography. Anything with a chip in it. Any digital. Digital is the word, right? Digital. Ones and zeros. 8888 Ask Leo. That's a number to call if you have a question. You want to know more. Comment. Some analysis you'd like to, deep thinking you'd like to pass along. 888-827-5536. Our website is techguylabs.com. Techguylabs.com. That's, if you had to remember one thing, that would be it, because the phone number's there. The link to the chat room, which is always fun, is there. And more importantly, everything I talk about. So if I mention a website or something, it's all there. techguylabs.com. We've mentioned before Radioshack going, yeah, that's kind of sad to me. Radioshack had thousands of stores. For many people in rural America, Radioshack was the place you would go to get technology. Originally, Tandy computers, lately mostly phones, and remote control trucks. But in the back, they still had like plugs and cables, and some of them really even still had resistors and transistors. The sad thing is, as they sell off the assets, they have also offered to sell off. Oh, this is so sad to me. Remember when you go into Radioshack, they would always ask you for your phone number, right? I was like, no, you don't. Are you going to call me? You don't. But they used that as a customer ID, I guess. And they had the battery club, and you'd give them your address and stuff. Well, guess what? They're going to sell off all that stuff they've been collecting. 13 million email addresses, 65 million customer names and addresses. Let the junk mail begin. Now, they said they had a privacy statement. This is why I raise this. A lot of companies have a privacy statement saying, we're not going to ever release your information, blah, blah, blah. We'll protect it with all our might. But when the company gets sold, the new owners can do whatever they want, can't they? All that's moot. The attorneys general in Texas and Tennessee say they're going to challenge the sale of this private data because, at least in Texas, it's a violation of state law to sell identifying information if a company's privacy statement says it won't. You know who else is trying to stop the sale of it? AT&T. AT&T doesn't want... You'd think AT&T, not exactly known for their strong stand on privacy. Oh, it turns out that's not why they're trying to block the sale. They say, well, we own that data. We want it. See, AT&T had a deal with Radioshack to market phones, and it says, that's our stuff. We want to spam those guys, not some stranger off the street. It's an important issue because a lot of times I think we point to the privacy statement, and I certainly try to read the privacy statement when on a website and stuff when it asks for, personal information. And I always cringed when Radioshack asked for a phone number. I suppose I gave it to them. Sometimes I would lie. Sometimes I would say no. But I think that probably more than once I gave them my actual phone number. Just out of, we want to be nice, don't we? We want to be polite. Oh, this nice salesperson's asking me. All right. I don't want to be that guy. No, you can't have it. You don't want to be that guy. But you know what? You have to be that guy. Because you know why? There's no protection. Well, maybe there is. The FTC is investigating as well. The commission, the Federal Trade Commission, has previously said that data should be, if it's sold in a bankruptcy, and that's what's going on. Radioshack's going bankrupt. I should have mentioned that, right? They're going under. And they're selling off their assets, and one big asset is 65 million addresses. FTC has said the privacy policy should be maintained through the sale and that the buyer should be in the same general line of business. So whoever buys it has to have a battery club. The company that's thinking about buying it, Standard General, wants to keep the Radioshack stores open. That would keep them in the same. Business, right? What do you think? Did you give Radioshack your private information? And should they be able to sell it? It's an asset. There's something they own. They're going bankrupt. They're selling off all the assets. We're going to see a lot more of this, I'm sure. I guess the point being, you can have a privacy policy, but it gets a little fuzzy when stuff gets sold. It's a little weird. There's been a big debate in the geek community, speaking of privacy, going on about Google because, the FTC, again, a couple of years ago, investigated Google, saying, wondering if they're using their monopoly power as the dominant search engine to get into other businesses. And in particular, the conversation's been going on because the Wall Street Journal this week published. So the way the FTC commissioners work, they have different groups, and they'll write papers, and then they may even disagree, and then the FTC commissioners will look at all the facts and then decide what to do. In this case, they decided not to go after Google. Google made some minor changes. The FTC said that's enough, and that was that. But one of the reports from the lawyers at the FTC was leaked, and it was pretty damning. It said, you got to go after Google because they're doing things like demoting competing sites in their search results. So Google has a shopping site. Google in its search, this is a couple of years ago, we don't know what they're doing now, but this is the problem. It's a little opaque what they do. In their search, when you type, I want to buy a Royal typewriter, and Google didn't want to give you a page that would just be more searches for prices for Royal typewriters. They wanted to give you some results that were actually Royal typewriters. So they demoted other shopping sites. Now that's competing with Google. They have their own, Frugal, which they since have gone out of that business. But the FTC lawyers said, this is anti-competitive. They're putting their search results up higher than their competitors. Google says we did it because we wanted better search results. We wanted diversity. We didn't just want to give you a search result that gave you more search results. And this one is a big one. And we've been debating this all week, what Google's up to. And the truth is, there's a lot of power in the search results, isn't there? And Google, as the totally dominant search engine in the U.S. and in Europe even more so, has a lot of power. And it's incumbent upon them. On the one hand, as a private business, they can do whatever they want. On the other hand, don't we expect them to be fair in their results? And it's not like you can go somewhere else. Like there's Bing. What do you do? You use Bing? Maybe you do. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. Hey, let's talk. Let's talk. It's not just me. I want to talk to you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. What happens at Radio Shack stays at Radio Shack. That is a very loud bump. Do you use Bing? I don't like Bing. The funny thing about Bing is they do worse things than Google. I'll give you we were talking about this on our show. We have a show called This Week in Google. So go to Bing and what was the example that we gave? Oh. Was it music? Yeah, well, music's a good one. So I did a Bing search for music. Well, right at the top is a bunch of YouTube results. That's good. Then Pandora, then Django. So I think that's fairmusic.com. What was the one that we did on Twig? Yeah, iPhone 89647 says, asking Google to promote competitors like wanting to find Pepsi in a Coca-Cola vending machine. Well, that's the question, is what business is Google in? Now, see, DuckDuckGo, don't kid yourself. You're using Google if you use DuckDuckGo. You're just using anonymized Google. See, DuckDuckGo, though they're trying, does not have their own search index. So the search results you'll get back from DuckDuckGo, that's not like using a different search engine. Yeah, maps, that's right. So let's go to Bing, bing.com. Now, when you look for maps, what do you want? You probably want Google Maps, MapQuest, something like that. What do you get? Bing Maps, MapQuest, there's Google Maps. That's not so bad. Oh, because I'm logged in. Let me see if I do an incognito tab. Where's that? How do I do the new incognito window? Yeah, I've gone incognito. It doesn't know it's me anymore. Now let's search for maps. Bing, MapQuest, Yahoo, Bing, Maps.com, National Geographic, MapQuest. There's Google Maps, almost to the very bibbidi-bobbidum. And I think you probably want Google Maps more than you want National Geographic maps. That's the count. That's the example given. So the question is, if you're searching for maps, what would be the best search result? Well, it would probably be Google Maps. Now, you're right, phone 937-944 to the sixth power. You shouldn't expect Bing or Microsoft to promote a competitor, but don't you... See, this is my problem, is I think a search engine should give you the best results. Bing Maps, see, Yahoo is really Bing. MapQuest, Yahoo Maps, Maps.com, National Geographic Maps, MapQuest, Rand McNally. There's Google Maps, way down there. Yeah, this is not scientific, but it points out that other search engines do the same thing. There really are, as far as I know, only two search engines. There's Google and Bing, and most of the others, startpage.com. That's not using its own search engine. Nobody has their own search engine. So if I search for maps on Start Page, I get these are probably Direction Maps, Free Maps Now. There's Google. Oh, these are the ads. Number 1 is Google Maps, then MapQuest, then That's what you'd want. Then Bing Maps. That's kind of the result you'd want. Do they have their own index? Seems like it says enhanced by Google right here. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. We've been talking about search engines in the chat room during the break, and everybody says try, startpage.com or swisscow.com or Bing or DuckDuckGo. There are other search engines, but this is kind of a monopoly Google has because it's so hard to make a good search index, and Google's been doing it for years. So they pretty much know about every page on the internet. And a lot of these sites are just scraping Google, frankly. They're just anonymizing Google results. Really, as far as I know, there's Bing and Google are the pretty much dominant search engines. 8888 ask Leo, what do you use? Oh, yeah, there's Baidu and Yandex. Baidu is China. Yandex is Russia. Those are absolutely different companies with different results. But you need to be a big company to do what Google does. That's a lot of work, going out and looking at the whole web, collating it all. 8888 ask Leo, I have the lovely and talented Heather Hammond with me today. She is screening your calls. I just want to ask you something, though. And please, I'm not going to take this personally, but in my email, I got a bunch of rejections to my calendar invites that you join us here on the show in coming weeks. Is that because you're taking some time off?
You are taking time off, sir.
Oh, I am. You're deleting me. Isn't that a weird thing, the way invitations work? Isn't that weird? I still, maybe it's just I'm slow, but I still don't quite get it. So you can make an invitation to a calendar event, like Google lets you do this and others. Mm-hmm. So that's, so when I make a calendar item for this show, as I do, because I would hate to forget that I have the show to do. Just be wandering around Saturday afternoon, going to the hardware stores, and all of a sudden I go, I feel like I should be doing something else. Look at my calendar. There it is, the Tech Guy Show. But I also invite you, I don't know why, but I invite you to be there in the calendar. And then I always, because I don't want to pester you, I always say, it says, do you want to send Heather an invitation? I say, no, I don't want to send her an invitation. I'm just putting her name in there, so I'll remember that's her name or something.
Oh, it generated, yeah. So it generates my calendar.
Yeah, then that's the other reason you do that is it sends it out to you, and you have it in your calendar. But then when you delete it, even if you haven't accepted, when you delete it, it says, Heather declined your invitation. And I'm taking it a little personally. That's all. I'm just a little bit of me died inside when I got 8 emails from you saying, Heather declined your invitation.
Oh, I feel
Isn't that
so
annoying?
bad. Blame the app.
It's the app. I do blame the app. I don't blame you. You're just deleting them from your calendar.
Yeah, I'm just cleaning things up in there.
Yeah,
because
you don't want to come here when I'm not here. That would be silly.
Exactly. As much as I love and look forward to seeing you every weekend, when I'm not, why waste the gasoline to drive?
We're going on a vacation in July. Mm-hmm. So you're going to not be here for those. We'll have, what we'll do though, we unlike many other show hosts who bring in guest hosts, I'm too paranoid. I'm afraid the guest host will be better than me. So I record ahead. So we'll be just keep and make a note of that. In June, we'll be recording. Not you, you know this, but I mean the people at home that will be recording ahead, which means we take calls after the show. There's more chances to get in. That way, you get a fresh show each and every day.
Ta-da!
And you get a couple of days. Are you going to go somewhere? Going to do something fun?
I haven't even thought about it yet.
No.
I was just starting to see, clear out the space on my calendar, and then I could eyeball it and make a decision.
Yeah. And I knew you were doing that because I got a lot of emails. See, I think there's something wrong with that system, but I can't figure out what. I guess that's what it's supposed to do, but I just...
Well, you could have done it before me. I guess I preemptively struck.
Yeah, because if I do it, you'll get an email from me saying Leo does not want you anymore.
Your presence.
You're no longer invited.
Well, that's so sweet that a little part of you died inside when you saw that. I really appreciate it.
It was rejection. Who should I talk to today on the show?
I'm playing favorites here. Scott in Laguna Woods, California has a great question.
I like that name. Hi, Scott. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
All right, Leo. So, the iPhone's only 8 years old.
Yes.
And when you think about where Apple's at, right? I mean, in 2004, from what I researched, their total sales was $50 billion of everything they sold. And now their profit is $50 billion.
I know. I'll give you a number because I've been listening. There's a new book out about Steve Jobs, pretty good, called Becoming Steve Jobs, and I've been listening to it. And the total sales for Apple II computers from when it started selling in 1977 to 1993, when it stopped selling, the total sales of Apple iPhones was Apple IIs was 6 million. Apple is selling more iPhones every week than that. So in 15 years, they sold 6 million Apple IIs. In 7 days, they sell 6 million iPhones. That gives you some idea of its dominance.
So do you have any kind of crystal ball as far as where you think we're going to be in 5 years as far as cell phones are concerned?
It's an interesting thing about technology because there's always been a business cycle. A company rises and falls, and there's some companies like Ford go on 100-some years, but most companies, have a natural business cycle, and the exceptions are rare. If technology sped that up. So a company like Google, which has only been around 12 years, it really feels like an old line company. Microsoft, even older. IBM, even older. So Apple, which has been around since the 70s, is really, it's an interesting story because they've had more than one life, haven't they? They've
right.
had, they almost went out of business in '94. We hear within weeks of going under, like Radioshack, like going under. And then they brought Steve Jobs back, and everything changed. Actually, it was 97 or 98. Anyway, so it's hard to predict in technology because the cycles are so fast, things change so much, and one thing you can't predict is what the next big thing will be. So, but I do feel like smartphones are mature now, right? They're not getting much better. When they first started in 2007 with the iPhone, they got better fast. Every new one was like, wow, that's better. Wow, that's better. Wow. Not so much now. The Galaxy S5 wasn't so much different from the Galaxy S4. The Galaxy S6 isn't so much. It's more cosmetic. It's like fins on that's what the car industry did. We can't really improve on the car, so we'll put fins on it. So the Galaxy S6 now has edge. It's the same thing as fin. It's got a curved screen that goes around the edge. That's like fins. It's insides are faster, I guess, but nobody's saying, "Oh gosh, I wish my phone were faster." So I think that we maybe reached the peak of what we're going to get with these slabs of glass. But that doesn't mean we're at the end of the line at all. In fact, the big growth area, I think, is wearables. Now we're waiting for the watch to come out. The Apple Watch comes out next month. We've seen other watches. Google tried it with glass. Microsoft has something very interesting coming out in the fall, the HoloLens. What is it, HoloLens? It's the augmented reality glasses. And virtual reality. Facebook talked about that this week at their Facebook Developers Conference. So new interfaces may change things dramatically. I think wearables, the idea that, right now you have a very powerful computer in your pocket. It could get even smaller and more powerful. But where would you stick it? That's the question. Scott Wilkinson coming up. I should talk about Periscope, shouldn't I? The now Meerkat Periscope battle rages. John Ledger is live. John Bracken is live. Ledger is the CEO of T-Mobile. I'm looking at people who are live right now on Periscope. I invented streaming, and instead now everybody can do it. Gosh darn it. Here's a barbecue, Rudy's barbecue. Somebody's wet. Why you no like me? My baby's 8th birthday. Sweet boy, glass of water. It's amazing. That's Periscope. I've tried both. I can't really decide what will be the killer. What is going on here? I think that this person is about to give her baby a bath. I had to investigate. Formula One. This is coming from Panama. Wow. Wow. See, now they're doing... Oh, it's Fox. See, that's just rebroadcasting a TV show. That's not very interesting, is it? Spying on coworker. See, some of these I'm nervous about showing. Driving home in Mexico. Baby. Some of this is so stupid. Who cares? But here's... well, and then... So Periscope saves the old ones for 24 hours. That's all. So that's Periscope. I think I like Meerkat better. Meerkat's still a little fun. Oh my. Still a little funky. Swedish food TV. That music tells us it's time for Scott Wilkinson, home theater guru, and the host of the Home Theater Geek podcast. Hello, Scotty. Oh, wait a minute. I turned you off. No wonder you were so quiet. Hi, Scotty.
Me? Quiet? Never.
Bump. So, you had an interesting episode on Home Theater Geeks this week. And normally I don't want to be too self-serving and promote our fabulous podcast network, TWiT.tv, and your fabulous show, TWiT.tv/HTG for Home Theater Geeks. But last episode, they're telling me in the chat room, I didn't hear it yet. Last episode was amazing. What was it?
It was really, really interesting. We told the story of a silent film made in 1927 in France by a guy named Carl Dreyer. It's called The Passion of Joan of Arc, and it tells the story of the last days of the life of Joan of Arc. She is a historical figure, of course. She led the French armies against the English and was captured by the English and put on trial. And so this movie is a depiction of that trial and her eventual execution. It's not giving any spoilers away since it's a historical fact. But it was made in, like I said, 1927. It was very controversial. It showed some pretty intense stuff. And it was thought lost in a fire, this movie. And Dreyer even did a second edit of some of the elements that survived, and that was lost in a fire. And so this movie existed in kind of weird, jumbled form for a long time. Then in 1981, a nearly pristine print of the movie was found in a janitor's closet in a Norwegian mental institution.
Well, of course. Wow.
It's like, whoa, what? Apparently, a copy had been sent to Norway to play, and it somehow ended up in this closet for 50, 60 years. Until it was finally discovered. And of course, over that period of time, it being on nitrate film stock, which was the old style of film stock, which is very delicate and quite flammable, it was found in relatively intact condition. So it was immediately restored. And the company that created the software to do the restoration was called Mathematical Technologies, now called MTI Film. And I had the CTO, Chief Technical Officer of MTI Film, on the show to talk about the restoration process and also some of the experimental techniques that Carl Dreyer used in that film, some of which are still used to this day, such as extreme close-ups of faces and some other things that aren't really used anymore. Like, for example, there's this great couple of scenes where a camera is overhead and it starts upside down, basically, and then pans slowly until it's looking right side up. Some really, really interesting stuff. Anyway, they did over 20,000 individual blemish removals, if you will, from this film. And then I also had on the show a composer by the name of Richard Einhorn, who heard of this story of the film and was immediately taken by it and decided to write an oratorio, basically a huge piece of music. This movie is over an hour long. And so he wrote this piece of music to go with the film, to be played while the film was played. And it has been performed over 200 times, I believe, live. And it also came out on DVD in 1999 from Criterion. which is a pretty well-known DVD publisher. And so he talked about the composition, which is full orchestra, full choir, soloists, and the text, the libretto of the oratorio comes from the transcripts of the Joan of Arc trial in, I think it was 14 something. Now I can't remember the exact date, but it was, hundreds of years ago, but they kept impeccable records about this trial. And so he used the text from the trial, the actual historical trial, in his libretto of this movie. Wow. Which is really astonishing. The movie, if you watch it, you can buy the DVD. It's available on Amazon.
What's the name of it again?
The Passion of Joan of Arc. And I wondered whether or not there was a possibility of a Blu-ray, and Kevin Manbeck, the CTO of MTI Film, said, well, we did scan it at 2K, which is 2,000 pixels across by 1,000
And that's
HD,
pixels, right? Yeah.
Which is HD, exactly. And then they downscaled that for DVD in standard definition, but the scans and the restoration exist in high def, so they could re-release it in high def, and I hope they do, because certainly with film there's enough resolution there, and the music is very powerful. The movie, the imagery is extremely powerful. We had talked, among other things, about what do you do if there are any anachronisms. Yeah, look, here's those of you who
it's
are
on
watching
YouTube, actually.
Oh, it's on YouTube. Okay. There
this
you go.
This is it, right? From 1928.
That's exactly it.
It's really looks really high quality. You could tell
it's
that
amazing.
They've done a good job of restoring it.
Yeah, well, they started with a really good quality to begin with, surprisingly good for that old a movie, because it had been, in a closet for 50 years.
What's fun about these 1928 silents, they were willing to experiment. They didn't really know how movies were to be made yet.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so it's really good.
And you know how the French are. I mean, they're willing to try all sorts of stuff.
Yes, but this movie was censored in its day.
Really?
It was very controversial. For example, there's a scene in which Joan is very sick. She has become very ill in the trial, and so they decide to bleed her.
Oh, gosh.
Bloodletting.
Yeah.
And according to Richard Einhorn, that scene was real. What they shot on the movie was real.
Yeah, because they didn't know how to fake it at the time.
They didn't know how to fake it at the time. That's exactly right.
I imagine in the process of cleaning it up, they're treating it almost like, well, they are. They're treating it like stills, like images, and go image by image with Photoshop.
Frame by frame.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, not in Photoshop, though. I mean, yes, essentially, that's the idea. But this MTI Film, Mathematical Technologies, Inc., was developing restoration software at the time. So
they had their own stuff.
Exactly. And that was now 35 years ago that they did this. Or 30 anyway. And so the technology has come a long way.
They didn't have Photoshop 35 years ago.
I know.
Or 30 years ago. That's pretty funny.
Right.
Okay.
Right. This was custom software that they were making. And
now you'd probably do it with Photoshop, frankly. And I know a lot of stuff in film, a lot of special effects and so forth are done with a standard kind of off-the-shelf software.
Yeah, exactly.
So is it a good movie?
It is. It's not what you'd call a happy movie.
Yeah. Well, it has an unhappy ending, doesn't it?
It has a very unhappy ending, and but the historical accuracy is really quite remarkable. Richard pointed out that at one point, Joan has to sign her name onto a confession, confessing that she wasn't speaking to God; she was speaking to the devil. But she was illiterate. She couldn't write her own name. So the priest helped her write her name. And then at the very end, she puts a little cross by the end of her name. And what she actually used historically, she did that when she was sending out military communiques that were expected to be intercepted by the enemy. And it was disinformation. So in fact, she was saying, by putting that little cross there, that don't believe this confession. I don't really mean it.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, fascinating.
Scott Wilkinson, he's at avsforum.com. And if you want to watch the podcast with before and after video as well, twit.tv/HTG. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo, 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. Jay is in Providence, Rhode Island. Hey, Jay.
Hey, you'll need to venture a tad south, Providence, North Carolina.
All right, that's a little bit better. I see an RI there, but it's NC. It's all right. What can I do for you? I came from Providence, Rhode Island, so I'm a little prejudiced.
Yeah, yes, I thought about that, so I'll try not to speak in North Carolina.
Okay.
But I'm wondering what brands and suppliers you would recommend for replacing the hard drive in a Mac Mini.
I would not worry so much about brand because nowadays there ain't much difference. Unless you're going to do an SSD. Are you going to do an SSD?
Probably not, because it's a mid-2011, and I'm wondering how much life the whole thing has.
Yeah. What's interesting on SSDs, we thought that they would not. These are the solid-state drives that are based on the flash memory, some kind you use in your camera. And we thought that they would not last very long. In fact, they've proven to be quite resilient. There's somebody doing a kind of a test of reading and writing data, and they slowly been burning through drives. But even the worst of the drives went for petabytes of data, and there's one still going, and I'll have to look that up. But they're quite resilient. So I wouldn't eschew SSDs for their lifespan. You might want to for their cost. They do tend to cost more per gigabyte than spinning drives. I would go to a place called Other World Computing. It's I think it's at macsales.com, SALES. And the reason I go there is they sell hard drives, expansion drives for Macs. That's what they specialize in, is Macintosh stuff, and you do want that. And they also, more importantly, they have videos, and they will include the tools for opening up that Mac Mini, which is non-trivial. It's not just a few screws. You need what they call a spudger, which is essentially a paint scraper. To slide. In fact, Apple stores they look just like paint scrapers, but they're nicely polished and made just for opening up Mac Minis. But I think you can get one at macsales.com. Okay?
Okay, yeah, I was just referring to the life of the Mac Mini in question.
Oh, I see. You don't want to spend money on a hard drive for something that's not going to be around for long. I get it. Yeah. Well, you'll see. If you go to macsales.com, you will see specifically, what kinds they have. You can compare, and so forth. And the nice thing about it is they understand Mac Minis, so they will say this is recommended for a Mac Mini. The other way to go, a lot of people go on the Mac Mini because the older ones have FireWire, the newer ones have an even better connection, Thunderbolt. A lot of people go with stackables. They look like a Mac Mini that stacks on top of your Mac Mini, but it connects via FireWire or Thunderbolt. So it's as fast as the internal drive, but you don't have to open the thing up. Be another way to investigate. But they have all those choices at Other World Computing. Hey, thanks for the call. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Let's go to Jeff in Burbank. Hi, Jeff. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo. I'm going to be seeing you pretty soon as you moderate your talk at the NAB show coming up.
Oh, I should give it a plug. Yeah, we're doing something called Broadcast Minds. It's a panel at NAB with people who are using internet to broadcast as we do.
Yeah.
I've done it before. It's really a great panel. Good. Well, I look forward to seeing you.
I look forward to seeing you. I missed you last year, but yeah. So, and we're going to be there. We have a booth there. But
who is we? What do you do?
Well, my company is called Advantage Video Systems. We were actually on you actually interviewed me at 1 year at NAB.
I remember.
A hat. I wore a hat.
Yeah.
And so we have a booth there every year, and SL 15118. And if anybody comes by, and we're going to have a lot of fun there. We actually do a newsletter that has all the different parties and events that are coming there.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So
this is Jeff Stansfield.
Jeff Stansfield, right?
Hi, Jeff.
Can I give my email address so that people can,
if you don't mind giving it out to 1 million people?
I don't.
Or you could just go to Radioshack.
Or I can just go to Radioshack has my information.
Yeah.
So if people go to jeff@advantagevideosystems.com, they can send me, and I'll send them an email newsletter that has 30 pages of parties and events. at NAB.
This is a great tradition.
Including your panel.
This is a great tradition at NAB is the parties.
Yeah,
NAB stands for the National Association of Broadcasters. It's a broadcast gear convention. It's for people who do. But now, because of streaming video, increasingly, the gear is not for television stations, but for internet streamers, which is exciting. So we like to go because, we're very interested in the cutting edge, and there's always interesting stuff there.
Absolutely. That's where we go. We go to meet our clients and meet new clients, and it's an incredible new and they're going to have like a thing for on the second floor. They have a thing for drones. So if you're into drones, they have that.
Well, yeah, because people put cameras on drones, get amazing. Oh, you don't need a helicopter anymore. You get a $500 drone and get beautiful shots.
Absolutely, and it's booming business. And
I bet it is. Until the FAA kills it.
Well, there's new laws coming out all the time, and there's in LA there's like and I'll say it's a great. If anybody wants to get into the business, the drone pilots are making like $300 an hour.
Wow. It's hard to do. I've flown I've had several drones. They've all flown into the hill or something. One just flew away. I never got it back. So you know what? You pay for the pro. It's worth it.
That is. There's some awful shots of people getting hurt.
It's not easy to. Yeah, and you don't want to hurt anybody either. That's right.
Yeah, people have been hurt, but
sure.
yeah. So the reason I'm calling you is we have this newsletter that we send out, and I have like 50,000 emails. I think almost as many as Hillary. And they're going back a lot of times, and a lot of them are not in my not in my email program, because I do like I have this thing called Mad Media. It's kind of like Constant Contact.
Yeah.
And I send out a newsletter.
Yeah.
So I want to extract all those emails and put them into the program and find out who I don't have in my program, so I can start sending them my email. So I was putting it out to you or to the chat room to see who might have either a script or an application that can pull those emails out so I can get these people the information they want to get.
So let me, so we understand this, and this is going to take some custom programming, although not difficult. Where is the data currently? Is it in a text file?
Yeah, well, I use Apple Mail, so it's in my Apple Mail, and it's all in my on a server. We have a server, and it's on the server. There's a mail file that has all my emails.
All right, yeah. So so you're going to want to first thing you want to do, and whoever does this script for you will explain this, is export it into a text file format. Would be the easiest way to do this.
Yeah, or CSS.
CSS doesn't really matter, but a text file format, because then it's easier to. Then you can write a simple script in a scripting language like Perl. Perl would be very good for this, or Python or Ruby, that just goes through it and is doing something we call a grep, a general regular expression parse. And what it does is searches for things that look like email addresses.
Yeah.
And then it makes a list of them. And then what are you comparing it to?
Well, I already have a bunch of emails. We have 30,000 emails in my email that we send out to you, but I want to get more people in there.
So you'll just add them. There's ways to do this. Somebody was saying in Windows there's a program called Auto Hotkey that might do the trick. Now, here's the thing. Be careful on these spams. Now, anybody who's it's not spam. I know it's a newsletter, but it could look like spam, and you got to really be careful when you're sending emails out that the people have asked for those emails explicitly. And so
and I would, like I said, I can go through them and say, oh, these guys are this and this is junk, and I can kind of go through it. But if it was in a list, it would be easier rather than me going into each individual email through my.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing computers are really good at.
Yeah.
But you're going to need somebody who can write a program. You might go to Stack Exchange or Elance. It's not a hard program. It shouldn't cost you too much. It's literally a couple of hours work for somebody who's got a familiarity with grep. Let me also mention my philosophy on emails is double opt-in. And because people are always this is a fun thing to do for people. They're always subscribing me to emails. They think it's funny. Swedish Meatball newsletter, or dating for people over 80 or whatever, and they think that's a hoot. The way it should work when you subscribe to an email is I go to a site, I sign up with my email address. The site then sends me an email saying, you or somebody with your email address has signed you up for this newsletter. Do you really want it? Click here. If you do nothing, we won't subscribe you. That's called double opt-in. I need to click on the website and then agree to an email that's been sent to me. And if you don't do that, then, in my opinion, you're sending spam. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
And hey, everybody in the chat room. So nice to see you. We've been talking about the Ren Fair, actually. One of the chat room regulars, Loquacious, is a long ago fair wench. I am a long ago fair musician, as they say, in the Queen's own band. But, you know, I got a little too old for marching around in the dust all day for $80 on all the beer I could drink. So, now, you know, that was great when I was younger, but not so much anymore. But I still like to go out there. The problem is that the corporate interest has taken it over so much that last time I was there, I heard them playing Led Zeppelin music, and there were undisguised food trucks. And I'm going, wait a second, this is supposed to be a Renaissance shire, a village. But no, it was full of stuff that was very anachronistic. So I was very disappointed. Hey, Sybil, how you doing? Good day to see you. Parsalian, nice to see you as well. James, Janiscu 7. Helo Pilot is enjoying the summer. Indeed. It's only March, well, almost April, and already it's 90 degrees in L.A. Mike Heist, no, I didn't change my lighting. It's the same as always. Not as good as Thursday, huh? Not quite sure why that would be. So anyway, anybody got any home theater questions? Happy to answer as best I can. Somebody asked about a refurbishing service for phono cartridges, particularly a B&O phono cartridge. And I have to say, I'm not a big turntable fan, turntable guy. I mean, I don't actually own a turntable, but it's in its box. I haven't used it in probably close to 20 years. So I can't say whether refurbishing old cartridges is a good idea or not. But, you know, give it a shot. Let's see. There's rollover. Okay. Bill in Michigan. Here we go. Computer HDMI to TV. Is 50 feet too long? Yes. Unless you have a cable with a booster in it, or you convert it into some other form of cable like Cat5 or Cat6 or fiber optic, using what's called a balun, which stands for balanced unbalanced, or balancing unbalancing, something like that. Anyway, short HDMI cable from the source to the balun, and then fiber optic or Cat5 to, as long as you need, hundreds of feet, to another balun, and then a short HDMI to the receiver. And that will solve that problem. But 50-foot HDMI cable, unlikely to work very well. Somebody earlier in the chat room was talking about a 40-foot HDMI cable and why it would work on one laptop and not another, from the HDMI out to the display. And the answer to that is, well, one laptop probably had a little bit more juice in its HDMI output than the other one, and so it worked and the other one didn't. 40 feet is, boy, that's a little bit past the borderline, if you ask me. Typically, I think it's specified as 30 feet is the maximum length, and even that's pushing it. So 40 feet is really going to be dicey, and some devices will work and some won't. 50 feet is even worse. So Bill in Michigan, 50 feet is too long unless you do. You could also possibly, I don't know if this would work or not. There's a Monoprice and some other companies make HDMI cables with a technology called Redmere, REDMERE. And that is basically a signal booster within the HDMI cable itself. It's in one end, one of the connectors. I forget whether it's the transmitter end or the receiver end. The transmitter end, undoubtedly. So you can get that, and I haven't looked to see if they make them in 50-foot lengths. They might, and that's a little booster right in the cable itself. So that might work, but without a booster or a Redmere cable or a balun setup, it's not going to work very well. Rusty Bones is asking, any updates on DTS-X? No, not yet. DTS is still being very tight-lipped about it, and I'm really pretty frustrated by that. The good news is I will be at NAB as well, and I have DTS on my interview schedule. I'll be doing a full day of booth interviews for a TWiT Live special from NAB, and DTS is on my list. And when I asked them, I confirmed the interview, and I said, will the guy I'm talking to be able to talk about DTSX? And they said, he'll be able to talk about anything that's in the booth. Okay, but I asked about DTSX. So they're being so tight-lipped about it that I don't know. I hope I learn something soon, and as soon as I do, I'll be writing about it because it's a really important thing. Wow Hunter asks, is it still a good buy to get an OLED TV that is 1080p? Yes, I would say so. They're still more expensive than a comparably priced or comparably sized LCD TV. In fact, the only 1080p TV OLED you can get is 55 inches. Beyond that, they're all Ultra HD or 4K. And so the LG, I forget the model number exactly, 55-inch is around $3,000, maybe a bit less street price. But a 55-inch LCD is a lot less than that. So you're still paying a real premium for OLED, and OLED is not without its problems. Some people think, oh, this is the perfect flat panel display. Nothing could be wrong with it, and it's not true. There are things wrong with it. Color rendition is a little problematic. Off-axis. You wouldn't think that OLED would have an off-axis problem, but it does. It can, I should say. Mark Henninger wrote a really great piece on AVS Forum about going up to Value Electronics in Scarsdale, New York, spending 3 days there with the 77-inch OLED from LG with Kevin Miller and David McKenzie, two really top-notch calibrators. And they all looked at it, and he wrote up his impressions, and it sparked a firestorm of debate about how great OLED is or not. And Mark did point out some of the drawbacks that he saw, as I think he should. And some people got on his case about that. Anyway, yes, Bill in Michigan, it is expensive. Okay, now Davey's asking a good question. Is there a disadvantage to routing HDMI to the TV set and taking the audio back to the receiver with optical? And the answer is, generally speaking, yes, there is a disadvantage to that. And the disadvantage is that with movies, most home theater content, you have a surround sound soundtrack, 5.1 typically. Some Blu-rays have 7.1, but let's call it 5.1. And so you have front, left, center, right, surround, right, left, subwoofer. When you send that into the TV and then take the optical out from the TV, many TVs, not all, but many, will down mix that to 2 channels. Very frustrating. Very frustrating. And so what you get out of the optical is 2 channels.
Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, cell phones, camcorders, MP3 players, home theater, and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number, 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside those areas, you can Skype us. And let me remind you, the website is techguylabs.com. Best way to find out everything you want to know about the show, including the phone number, including the chat room, including answers to questions, links, and so forth, because we put it all there. In fact, even audio and video after the fact. Yeah, we shoot video of this show. Yeah, I don't know why. It's a radio show, and I got a face for radio, but for some reason, if you want to see the video, we put it up there, techguylabs.com. Back to the phones we go. Abdiel in Rochester, New York. Hi, Abdiel.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well. Am I saying your name right?
Yes, you are.
All right. Just like it's spelled. What can I do for you?
Yeah. All right. So I've been having a problem for about a week now on my Google Nexus Player. I wanted to update it to Android 5.1, and there is a software update over the air. But when I want to restore, or should I say reboot the device to install the update, it starts to install it, but then it pops up an Android with an error with a red triangle.
Yeah. I wonder if it's full. You might need, a lot of times when you do over-the-air updates to any device, this happens a lot with lower memory Android phones and iOS devices. You need a certain amount of free memory to expand the update and install it. Storage, I mean. Can you see on the Nexus Player what kind of storage you have left?
Well, I did restore it this week as well to try to fix that
Like
problem.
wiping everything else off of it. You don't have anything installed now.
Yeah. No, I don't. And it
still won't do it. Yeah. Well, it's possible you have a bad OTA download. There are other ways to do this. For instance, Google has released the 5.1 image, so you can get it not over the air, but actually download it.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that might be the way to do that. I'm not sure what the process is.
Yeah, I think you have to install the profiles, or should I say the drivers on your computer. But I don't know.
Yeah. You need fast boot on your machine. If you have a Windows device, it's not so hard to do. Here's what I would do. You did the right thing, which is you wiped the Nexus Player. Nexus Player, for those who don't know, is Google's latest Google TV device. It's a little round hockey puck, kind of like a Roku or an Apple TV. You plug into the television, and then it connects it to the internet and allows you to add apps and stuff. If you've done the over-the-air update and it won't do it, and you reset the thing so it's the factory, it's the way it came from the factory, and it still won't do it. It's interesting. Somebody in the chat room saying Google pulled the over-the-air update because of a bricking issue. maybe you're in luck. Maybe you're in luck. The chat room's got some great stuff. Information we'll put in the show notes, such as things like the Nexus Root Toolkit from wugfresh.com, wugfresh.com/NRT, which would make reinstalling a factory image, or rather installing the 5.1 factory image. Over-the-air updates are a tricky thing, especially to do it in place without wiping the thing and starting over. It's always a little tricky. Yeah. So it sounds like over-the-air is not the way to do it. You did all the right things. Reset it to the factory settings. Try again. It still hasn't worked. Then you're going to want to do something
This is the only device. Because I don't have problems with my iOS devices.
No, it happens.
I've been testing out Windows 10, and I had no problems as well.
Yeah, but it happens. It happens everywhere to every device. So it may be particularly bad on this one. I don't know. So do you have a Windows? You said you have Windows 10, so you must have a Windows computer.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's very easy to install the software. If you go to xda-developers.com, they'll give you the information. And in the process, you'll be rooting it, which means you can get a little more control over it. And you can install that 5.1 update that Google has made available. And that's the nice thing. Google has published that 5.1 update. So it's an easy thing to get. It's funny. I didn't know this. The code name for the Nexus 6 phone is Shamu, the killer whale, because it was a giant phone. But what I didn't know is the Nexus Player, which is what you're talking about, its code name was Fugu, which of course is the poisonous Japanese blowfish. Nexus 9 is Volantisg, or Volantis G, I guess. Yeah, that's it. Hammerhead is the Nexus 5. Yeah, they have good, cool code names. But you'll find this page. We'll put the page from the Google developers site in the show notes. We'll also put information from XDA, and you can do it all yourself. It's not hard to do. Not hard to do. These things happen. If you think about it, changing an operating system in mid-flight, kind of like changing the engine in a jet plane in mid-flight, or changing the tablecloth at a Thanksgiving dinner. It's not an easy thing to do, and sometimes things go wrong. Thomas in Cali Mesa, California. Hi, Thomas.
Hey, Leo. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, sir. I've got a kind of random question. It's about car tech or cabin tech, I guess we would call it. I have a 2012 Ford Focus, and it doesn't have the really cool touchscreen sync system, but it has the one with the two smaller screens.
You consider yourself lucky. A lot of people complain about my Ford Touch, and Ford has abandoned it now.
It's too bad because it looked pretty cool. I guess it didn't work so well, though.
I liked it. I had a 2010 Mustang with Sync, and I thought Ford Sync was the best in-car system I had used to date, but it was using Microsoft Car. They've moved now to QNX, and it's going to be a completely different operating system. A lot of people complained about my Ford Touch.
My question was, I know it's got a place to plug in USB, probably mainly just for charging a phone or syncing a phone.
You can also use it to update the software.
That's what I was wondering about. I went to Ford, and they said that my 2012 model was the most updated version, but I wonder if there's even a community of people that do cooler things with it.
So we just did a piece on our Security Now show a couple of weeks ago. Maybe you saw the 60 Minutes piece where some hackers showed how easy it was to get into the car's telematics system, which is that's what my Ford Sync is, and then through that get into the car's computer system and do things like disable the brakes. Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Oh. And so we've talked about this a little bit, and it's not theoretical, it's real, and it's a little bit scary. So Ford locks this system down as tightly as they can because they don't want. So in other words, you're not going to be. There isn't I don't believe there's a group of hackers hacking this stuff. And if there were, I wouldn't recommend it because what if they make a mistake?
That's a good point.
This is not your stereo. This is your stereo in a car that you're driving. So
I guess I didn't put the two together there.
Be careful. Well, and originally I said, well, don't. In fact, I think Ford does this. Don't you separate the sound system computer from the car computer? They do, but because of costs, they're all on the same bus, which is a very old-fashioned thing called CAN bus. It's not Ethernet. It's called CAN bus, and it is possible using hacking techniques to get into the other system and do bad things. So don't mess with it. If you've got the latest update, you've got the latest update. And you know what? You probably have the last update, too, because as I said, I doubt very much Ford is going to be doing many updates on Sync or Touch because they're moving. I think the next model year, in fact, will be QNX. So, you got what you got. You might be able to update maps. That's about it. Fascinating subject, though. And I'll tell you what, I'll put a link in the show notes at techguylabs.com. to the Security Now episode we did talking about this, because these guys were very sharp, very interesting. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. It was episode 497, and here is the link. I think it's somewhat farther into it. Hey, our show today brought to you by Prosper.com. What a clever idea. Prosper is something the internet makes possible, a marketplace for lenders and borrowers. I almost said lendees. Lenders and borrowers. If you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Why go to a bank, or worse, your family, your friends, if you need some money? Why not borrow from somebody who's got money to lend through a system that works really well? Prosper.com. With a low fixed rate loan for Prosper.com, this is such a great solution. You can borrow up to $35,000 in as little as 5 days and use the money for almost anything you want. A good one, paying off high rate credit cards. This is the rate will be much lower than your credit card rate. That's why you shouldn't use your credit card to do this either. You could fix up your house, even put it into a business. Put a nice big sign up front. Prosper's online marketplace connects people who need money with those who want to invest in you. So don't rack up more debt on your credit cards. Pay them off with Prosper. To check your low rate instantly, and this will not affect your good credit, go to prosper.com/twit. That's a page on the Prosper site. We use /twit so they know that I sent you. Prosper.com/twit. And there's a little calculator there. You don't have to give them much information, and you'll immediately get how much money you can borrow and the fixed rate. Now and for a limited time, Prosper is offering our viewers a $50 Visa gift card with your low-interest loan. Wow, nice. You can get up to $35,000 in your account in as few as 5 days, plus that $50 Visa gift card at prosper.com/twit. That's the place to go. prosper.com/twit. And we thank them for their support of the Tech Guy podcast. prosper.com/twit. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. You can use Skype to call if you're not in those areas. Dave is in Venice Beach, and I'm very jealous right now, California. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Leo. You should be jealous. Really beautiful out here.
I bet it's a gorgeous day.
Oh, yeah. It's a little overcast. Fog rolled in a few minutes ago. But
Man. That's all right. It's always a beautiful day in Venice Beach.
That's true. Exactly. All right. Well, I have a PlayStation that I use to watch my DVDs and stuff.
Okay.
But now I want to check the internet through my projector that you advised me a few months ago. Awesome. It's Apron.
Great.
And so now I want to watch check the web, and I want to watch movies. Like, for example, when I go to YouTube, it doesn't let me watch in a higher quality. It says at 240.
Ah.
Yeah, I don't know how
that's ugly.
It doesn't. Yeah. Pardon me?
PlayStation 3?
Yeah. And then the other thing is like a movie browsers. Like I'm on 3 movies and watch, and it says I can't watch them, so I need to upload or download Flash Player, but the PS3 doesn't let me upload it or download it.
Yeah, no, Flash is gone. Flash is history. Adobe stopped making it for mobile devices. They still offer it for Windows and Mac, but that's going to be gone too as well.
Yeah, it bugs on my computer too.
But here's the good news: YouTube doesn't use Flash anymore.
Oh, okay. But that's for
YouTube has gone to HTML5 for all videos.
HTML5, you said?
Yeah. So that's that's kind of deceptive. It implies that that's a video codec, which it's not. So it used to use Flash. But they have decided, and I think all websites will do this. I can't wait till we can do it, sort of, but we're working on it because we don't stream our own video. We have third parties that do that. We would love to get rid of Flash. Everybody would.
Okay, yeah.
Because, as you said, it's buggy. It's also a virus vector. So we kind of discourage Flash if possible. The trick is, I'm not sure. It's a PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
Anybody in the chat room have a suggestion for getting better quality YouTube? And I presume you have plenty of bandwidth, right?
Yes, plenty.
So it's just the PS3 is not. And are you using a YouTube app or are you using the browser?
That was my last question. I don't know what the difference is when they say, would you like to surf the web or browse the web?
So what you don't want to do, if you can help it, is use a browser. PlayStation 3 does have a browser. Do not go to youtube.com in your browser.
I don't know what the difference is, by the way, between browser and search.
Yeah. So what you need to do is install an app. So yeah, there's a YouTube app. And so what you'll want to do is I think you'll get much better results. Just like there's a Netflix app and a Hulu Plus app.
Right.
There's a YouTube app. So go to the Sony PlayStation Store and download the app, and that's going to always do better than the browser does.
Oh, good to know. I didn't know.
Yeah. So the browser is kind of a generic window onto the internet, just like a browser is on your computer, like Chrome or Internet Explorer or Safari or Firefox. There is a browser on the PS3. It's not a very good one, but it does allow you. I mean, they put it there because it does allow you to go to anywhere. But I would not recommend playing video through it. I would go to YouTube. Use the app.
Okay.
All right.
Very good. And that's the thing for the movies, the movie websites.
Same thing. There's a Netflix app. There's a Hulu app. There's a Vudu app. There's apps for almost all those websites, and they will always work better.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so when you do a search, like a web search, that's the browser.
I see.
Yeah, and what it'll do is launch the browser, which is think of a browser as a window onto the internet, onto the web. It's okay, but it's not a very good browser, so you're not going to get a great result.
All right, and are apps free, or do I need to pay?
Yeah, absolutely free. Are you kidding? Google wants you to watch YouTube.
Awesome. Yeah. Elio, you're the best again.
There is, and by the way, there is search within the app. So when you do the generic PS3 search, that's going to launch a browser. But when you go, and you'll see, it's just like any other app in the, you go to TV video services in the PlayStation menu, and you'll see, you probably will already see Netflix there. Most people install Netflix. None of this is installed by default, I think, but you should see it. You eventually will see an icon for YouTube. Once you launch that, you can then search within the YouTube app. But what's good about that is that will then play YouTube. Actually, I think you're going to get an icon even if it's not installed yet. I'm looking at the Sony support site, and it says if you go to TV video services, My Channels, you'll see a button that says YouTube, even though you haven't installed it yet. But once you click it, it'll say, oh, you want me to download that? You say yes. Now you're going to have a much better YouTube experience designed for the PS3. Much, much better. Have a great day in Venice. I don't know why. When I talk to somebody who's in Venice Beach, I just imagine them in short shorts and roller skates. Is that just me?
It's a thing.
It's a thing. Brent, Hamburg, PA. Hi, Brent.
Hi, Leo. How you doing?
I am well. Is that where the hamburger was invented?
No, I think that was in Germany.
Oh, okay. Well, but I bet you got great soft pretzels.
Yes, we do. Absolutely.
What can I do for you?
I have an Acer Arconia 810 tablet.
Yes.
And it used to, when I would run Crackle, it's an Android, has a Jelly Bean on it, and it would play the movies okay, no problem. But lately, now it just wants to start the movie, and then all of a sudden it just stops. And so there's an error. And I didn't know whether or not if it's something that should I be upgrading the operating system to the next version of KitKat.
Well, I certainly would upgrade it. Yeah, you're still on KitKat. Get it in general, always get the latest. But that older tablet doesn't have a lot of memory. I mean, it worked before. I'm sure it's not that it's. Just update everything you can, and you may want to. And we were talking with somebody earlier who did the same thing with their Nexus Player. You may want to go to the backup and reset settings and restore it to factory settings. Now, it's kind of a pain because you'll have to end up re-downloading apps and stuff. But sometimes that helps with things like this. First thing to do, though, is get all the updates you can. Make sure you have enough free space. Clear out the cache, that kind of thing. And see if it works. And if it doesn't, well, then maybe you want to do a factory restore. I hate to have to do that. It's the equivalent of reinstall Windows, but not nearly as painful, thanks to Google. In fact, before you do, if you go to backup and reset, and there's a reason why they're both in the same setting, you'll see a checkbox that says backup to Google. Check that, and then there's a button that says back it up now. That'll back up. You can back up your settings, your information, what apps you have. You'll still download fresh versions of the apps, which isn't a bad thing. But it's a good idea to do that backup. Wait, maybe later this afternoon, do the restore after you've done the backup. 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte. Tech Guy. More to come right after this. Hey, Johnny.
How you doing?
I should have heeded your warning about Spirit.
Oh, my God. You did not fly Spirit.
I did fly Spirit. It was only to Vegas, so it wasn't too far.
Yeah, but if that flight is delayed on the runway, it's 28 inches of pitch.
Yeah. We got in. We sat down. First, on the way to Vegas, they do a little lottery because they have 4 nice seats, the old first-class seats.
Got it.
And they only charge like $15 to upgrade them. But there's only a handful. And I think it's all a scam to make you feel like, oh, no, I'm going to get a great price, and then I'm going to upgrade to the good seat, and I'll be comfortable. So on the way there, we did, and I thought, this is nice. I like this. Flying back, we went back a couple rows. And we're sitting here, and I'm going, I think Johnny must have mentioned this. My knees are right against the seat. And so I Googled it, and sure enough, the least seat pitch of any airline in the U.S.
Yeah. So how about the carry-on?
And they charge you for carry-ons.
Last minute, they'll charge you $100 for the overhead bin. Underneath the seat is free.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Underneath the seat is free.
See, it's not so clear. So Lisa was because she wanted to get our seats, and then she saw that they charged to reserve a seat. And then she looked and she realized they charged for carry-on. So we bought, it wasn't cheap. It was like 25 bucks.
I think it's, well, I actually haven't.
It's expensive. Well, don't.
Spirit. I actually booked a ticket and I didn't use it because they were trying to charge me for carry-on. I was like,
they charge you for everything. They charge you to reserve a seat. They charge you for carry-on. I didn't know you could put it under though. See, we would have been able to put it under.
See, I need to fly him and do a story on it.
But, well, here's the real question and the real story. By the time you get all these add-ons, are you in fact saving money?
Well, that's what I tell people all the time. You're not. Chances are you're not.
That's what I figure.
If you're carrying bags at all.
Right.
But if you live in two different places and you're just going in and you have stuff already there, no problem.
Well, they have like $50 flights to Florida from, New York. So I could see why if you're a commuter.
But they sucker people because people are thinking that everything's included,
right?
And then they get there, and you're actually spending more than the big carriers.
Well, that's why they charge you so much if you at last minute,
right?
Because I'm sure they make the money back there.
Yeah. Well, definitely. Huh. They charge the carry-ons because they're trying to turn the planes around super quick.
Yeah,
and,
that's the other thing.
It does slow everything around.
Yeah, that's what they say. They say we don't want to. We want to turn. One of the reasons we're so cheap, we turn the planes around. Well, yeah, it's all right. I have enough money that I can afford to fly Southwest.
I just booked a Southwest ticket.
I don't mind Southwest. I like Southwest. Compared to Spirit, they're a luxury airline.
And Spirit, they don't shy around it. They realize they're the most hated airline in the industry. They even had a sale about how hated they are.
Yeah, and yet they're the fastest growing airline in the U.S.
They make the most money. Yeah. Or one of them that make the most money.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's fine. As long as what I don't like is the kind of the tricking you part.
And they push the envelope. Anytime there's something going on in the news, or they'll do all kinds of. Last week they had a $69 sale for their 69th plane,
right?
And they had all kinds of sexual innuendos.
Oh, that's nice. The planes are new. That was nice.
I guess I really can't cap on them since I haven't been. Since I haven't flown.
Here's how I could cap on them. It's cheap, but the only cap is, are they tricking people? If they're tricking people, that's not nice. Like if they're pretending that they're a cheap airline, but by the time you're done, it costs the same as a regular one. That kind of thing. Johnny Jet, he's built to fly. Johnny Jet is our global traveler, our travel guru. He helps us use technology to save money and travel better. Hi, Johnny.
Hello, Leo.
We love Johnny Jet.
We love Leo.
Oh, no, you don't. Leo, Leo's just this guy, but Johnny Jet is like Johnny Jet at johnnyjet.com. He's at Johnny Jet on the Twitter. He's on the Instagram. I love following your Instagram. There's always cool travel places. It's kind of one way I can keep up with you. You're all over the place.
My wife's starting to get big on Instagram and Flipagram. They made a recommended user.
Oh, nice.
Martha Stewart just regrammed her.
Wow.
Target regrammed her. I mean,
wow.
I was like, oh my God.
What is her handle on Instagram?
Natalie Discala, Discala. That's her handle on everything. And she's a super user on Pinterest. She has over 100,000 followers.
I hear that she's like a Pinterest guru.
I need to catch up. But speaking of some apps, I have a good one for you.
Yes, sir.
So have you heard of Postagram?
Oh, I love Postagram. I sent Lisa a Postagram the other day. It was so cute. Tell us about it.
So, anytime I traveled, I would always go to the store, buy postcards. Right. Then you got to go to a post office, buy a stamp, and then you got to mail it. And it took forever. It cost money. And then, since the digital age, it's been very difficult to find postcards at most stores. And waiting in a line for a post office doesn't really, entice me.
Yeah, and when you travel, there's some places you want a postcard. Like I went to the Falkland Islands. And they have a little post office there when you get off the boat, and they have a special stamp, postmark, and you can send a postcard. That's kind of cool. I think it's I can't remember what it was, the easternmost post office in the Western Hemisphere.
Well,
something
I've never
silly.
been to the Falkland Islands. You got me on that one.
Something silly.
I mean, I love having foreign stamps, but the problem is, who wants to wait in line? And a lot of times the post office is not even open.
Right.
But So here, and I do love sending postcards, especially to my niece and nephews and my parents, friends, and aunts and uncles. But so this is an app you can download for Android or iOS.
I love it.
Takes a second, and you just set up an account. All you got to do is put in, you can pick from any of your photos, first of all. So you can pick from your Facebook, Instagram, or your camera roll, or just take a photo.
Right.
And then you can instantly put it up, and then you write a message, and then you just put in the address. And if the address is already in your address book, it's one click. And then you pay, and you put your credit card on file, so then that takes another click. So literally you can do it within a minute, send a whole postcard. It costs 99 cents anywhere in the U.S. And in Europe, outside of the U.S., Europe and Canada is $1.99. And for all those places, usually takes 2 to 5 business days. But they also offer it to all their international destinations, but that can take up to 2 to 3 weeks.
I love this. And then you can pop the picture out, which is kind of nice.
That is cool.
It's perforated. But they also put a QR code on the postcard. And if you scan that, you can actually download the picture.
See, I just bought it today.
You'll like this. I
just sent one to my niece and nephew.
Yeah. So it's like a regular postcard because it has your picture with your Instagram or whatever picture on it and a message. Not handwritten, but it's, they can tell it's from you. And it even has a little picture of you or whatever your Instagram picture is. It's from Sincerely. It's called Postagram.
And it's a glossy photo postcards at 300 DPI.
And I have done it, and so I can say I wish I could get Lisa's attention. She has a Postagram I sent to her the other day.
Oh, I'm going to send a lot more.
It's
going to wait and see how it came out.
It doesn't. I wish it were the full postcard, because it's not. It's just a little part. It's a square. It's like half the postcard.
It's 3 by 3.
Yeah. Inches. But that's the only bad thing about it. It'd be nice, like if it were a real postcard.
I'll try and find one that does.
I think this is the one, Postagram from Sincerely. All right, that's an app, but you have a contract to provide both an app and a website on each and every show.
Well, here it comes. Have you heard of GoSeek.com?
Never heard of it.
SEEK.
What is it?
GoSeek.com. So this is relatively new. It's a month old, and what it does is it sniffs out all the aggregates for booking hotels. And what I love about it is that it will look for AAA coupons, AAA rates, coupons, and senior rates. So, and a lot of times, so you can put in San Francisco or you put in Petaluma. I just put in San Francisco, figuring you would.
Well, I'm in Petaluma, so it just decided to use.
Right, it just did that with me.
I can't imagine it's going to find a great rate in Petaluma, but I don't know. Oh, look!
Well, let's find out.
Look at all the. Whoa! Oh, this is also in the wine country. It's nearby too. This is great.
But see that the first one saved you $60.
Yeah. Nice.
So you have to be careful though. So let's say it does find the AAA rate. You better make sure you have a AAA card, because I'm checking, most likely they will ask you.
Yeah.
But let's say I'm looking at a rate for San Francisco. It saves $52 a night. But if you book a few nights, that's $150, and a AAA card I think is only $40-something. So it's well worth it.
This is great. And it's more than $57 if you compare it to the Expedia price. I mean, we're talking $70, $72 savings over the Expedia price for this one hotel. This is a nice hotel, too. I've stayed there. I like it.
So keep in mind, when you do book through these third parties, including Expedia and Travelocity, all those guys, a lot of the major chains like Marriott and Hilton, all those guys, they won't give you your elite status benefits if you have elite status.
Right.
A lot of times you won't get free Wi-Fi, especially these guys are now going to start charging. They're going to give you free Wi-Fi if you book through their website, but if you book through third party, you're not going to get the free Wi-Fi. So you have to figure that all in,
right?
And see if the benefits outweigh it.
So in this case, it's a coupon rate. Did they give you the coupon, or do they tell you where to find the coupon?
No, you just click it and it goes right to it, and you just enter all your details.
Now there's some you should watch out, like as you said, the AAA rate or the senior rate. If you're 25, I don't think the senior rate's going to work unless they mean high school senior. I don't. So they do have some rates that, might not apply to you.
Well, my dad will be willing to travel with you.
Yeah,
so
Dad'll come.
If you need the senior rate, I can fly my dad up to wherever you are, and you can take him with you.
You saw that Orbitz Expedia bought Orbitz, right?
Did.
So there's only two now, right? There's
Travelocity. Oh no,
Travelocity is owned by Expedia.
Yeah.
Expedia owns like most.
It's Priceline and Expedia.
Those are the two, and everybody seems to be owned by one or the other, right?
Exactly. Cheap tickets. They're all.
It's amazing.
I think they're all by,
it's
Priceline.
Amazing. So we should just use Priceline.
I can't
keep up. Yeah. The internet, it moves too fast.
Trivago is owned by Expedia.
I know. I thought Trivago was something different because it's got the guy who hasn't shaved and he's kind of cool and hip. It's the same. Are the results the same if you use Trivago or Expedia?
You know, I don't know for sure.
Johnny, get on this investigative report.
I would imagine they're very similar.
Yeah, I would bet they're exactly the same.
Because they're having, they have the same deals in the background. Right. It's just a different look.
But this one, GoSeek, is good. That's not owned by anybody. It aggregates them all. So GoSeek.com.
Will be owned by someone soon, probably.
Well, that's the thing. I think that's why people start these.
That's what I need to do. Why don't we start one together?
We should start one and get purchased.
Yeah. I
feel like there's a secret to becoming a billionaire, because the billionaires that I see, these really rich guys, they're doofuses. They did the right thing at the right time. They're not any better than you or me.
They just make a lot more money.
They're just a lot richer. We got to figure out, Johnny. There's got to be a key to this. JohnnyJet.com. He's working it. He's the travel guru. Thank you, Johnny. Had safe travels at Johnny Jet on the Twitter, Johnny Jet on Instagram, and don't forget Natalie Discala, Discala. Follow her on Instagram. Let's give the wife a plug.
That's very nice. She's going to be very happy. She's sick today in Toronto.
She should be Mrs. Jet. You should be Mr. and Mrs. Jet. Would be good. Easy to remember. Work on that.
So I'm looking at the chat room, by the way, and a lot of people wanted me to talk about Germanwings. I don't know if we have time.
No, we're out of time. Okay. And what is there to say?
Well, they're saying the future could be pilotless
planes? Yeah. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I hope not. Actually, you have flown in a pilotless plane in effect.
True.
I mean, he had to turn off the autopilot or set it differently to crash the plane. Had it been an Airbus, he might not have been able to do that.
Well, that was an Airbus.
It was an Airbus.
Yeah, he was on an Airbus 320.
Because you can't do stupid things on Airbuses, I thought. I guess you can always fly a plane into the ground. Sad.
Yeah, I'm not a pilot. I just know that this has happened more than once.
But not many times.
No. I mean, listen, this could happen on a bus. If you're driving on a bus, if someone wants to kill you and they're in control of the car or the plane.
There's a degree of trust in all travel.
I just think they need to start doing, mental and health tests.
They did.
On this guy?
He was cleared to fly, yeah.
Yeah, they did. But,
or better background checks.
The problem, according to the New York Times, is that pretty much pilots are trusted to self-report. So
he had a note.
He has to trust. He has to. I don't.
It's just scary stuff.
I don't feel like this is a common issue. Is it?
No, it's definitely not a common issue, and I would not be afraid to fly.
Yeah.
But now you have to think about are these cockpit doors too heavily armed? Because before 9/11, obviously
we're all knee jerks
wide open, and then after 9/11, they just locked them all up, God. And now this doesn't help. But it's a tough subject, and I feel awful.
I don't think we need to say anything about it. It's obvious. I mean, the guy killed himself, and he killed about 300 people with him or whatever, which is terrible.
Well, it'll be interesting to see the full reports, because I still think it was pretty early for them to say that, the pilot actually did it on purpose.
He could have had a heart attack. We don't know.
I know. There was no sign, no nothing like that. So I think it still might be a little bit early to say that.
I think it's hard to crash an Airbus, and I think that the only way you can really do that is by overriding a lot of automatic systems. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Back to the phones we go, and Andrew in Murrieta, California. Hi, Andrew. Leo Laporte.
Hey, Leo. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm great. So I had a question for you. It's somewhat tech-related. I help out with a nonprofit, and we're doing a benefit concert at the end of May. And I wanted to get your advice and the chat room's advice on the best online ticket website to use to sell the tickets.
I don't know. That's a good question. So, so it's nonprofit. Often, I would investigate this. There are companies that specialize in supporting nonprofits, and often they have better prices, better deals. Somebody in the chat room seems to know. Wait a minute, it's you, Heather. How do you know about this stuff?
We've been involved in some of these things at my day job in the past.
She has a day job. Brown paper. Tell me about brown paper. What is that?
Okay, well, that's someone else's department, but I would definitely look into brown paper.
And they handle ticket sales for events.
Yeah. And then Ticketfly, I believe, is a little bit bigger, but they will help you out with some promotion. But check them out.
Brown paper says they're a fair trade ticketing company. Well, I don't even know. No fees to sell tickets. Oh, that sounds good for a nonprofit. And live 24/7 and phone and web sales. And then the buyer pays $1 plus 3.5%, including delivery and credit card processing. And that's, of course, the catch, because whoever's doing the ticket sales is going to be paying 3 or 4% to the credit card company. So this is pretty fair. I guess they pay 3.5%. That goes on to the credit card company, and then 99 cents is their fee. This sounds like a good deal. This is brownpapertickets.com. And I think for a nonprofit, this is great. In fact, they even have a quote on the front from a 501c3 saying specifically that this really worked well for them. So that's one to look at.
Well, great. Thank you so much, Leo.
You're welcome. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. And, wait a minute. Plug your event. Plug your event.
Sure. It's called A Night of Hope. It's a benefit concert for two organizations. The one I work with is God's Kids. It's a nonprofit that helps out with orphanages around the world.
Wow.
And then we're also partnering with the Corona Symphony Orchestra and Conservatory. So it's going to benefit the children musicians that practice in and around Corona.
That sounds wonderful. And is the concert in Corona or where?
Yeah, it'll be at Corona at Crossroads Christian Church. It seats about 4,000 people.
Oh, that's a big church.
Yeah.
Lots of room.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know where you're selling tickets yet, but is there a website that people could find out more?
Yeah, it's godskids.org.
Well, that's easy. godskids.org. I'm glad we could give you a plug there. Good luck with the benefit.
Thank you so much, Leo. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, Andrew. Nice to talk to you. Thanks for the work you're doing. Clay in Highland, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Clay.
Hi, Leo. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing good.
What's up?
My question is, I am trying to preserve a bunch of VHS tapes.
Okay.
So I got this program from Roxio, and I plug a VHS into my laptop, and I capture it on my laptop, and the quality is really good.
Wow.
Better than some of these companies that you take your tape to, and
This is good to know. You know why? I have a VHS of my daughter performing when she was like 6, and I've been looking at this thing thinking, what am I going to do with this?
Yeah, because tape's going to go.
It's going to go. I need to digitize it, and then I can send it to everybody, and we'll have it forever.
But here's the problem. The file on my computer is huge. I can't drop it to a disk because I'm talking about one of the tapes was at least 50 minutes long.
I can help you with this. So, okay. But just to be clear, so you need obviously a VHS player. I happen to have one lying around. I don't know why, but I do. And then you need a way to connect it to your computer because you're going to get an analog signal off of that. You know, the old, you remember these? The yellow, red, and white cable. And you get that off the VHS, and then that goes into a capture card, right? What do you use on your hardware?
Well, the Roxio kit that I bought
you get a kit. Okay.
With the software has all the wiring for it.
Oh, good.
It actually goes USB into your computer.
Perfect. Oh, USB. Okay.
Yeah, it works great.
So you like the quality. The quality is as good as the tape was. That's as good as it can get.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, it is.
So the next thing is, there's a couple of things you could do. You can change the settings in the Roxio software to capture at a lower quality. Don't do that. You want the highest quality. You got that on your hard drive. Now what you want to do is something called transcode it. So what you're doing when you're taking a VHS tape and putting it on your computer is you're taking an analog signal that's coming off the tape and you're digitizing it. You're turning it into ones and zeros. And then you're compressing it or encoding it. You have to compress it or it would be even bigger than it is now, like a lot bigger.
Yeah.
So all video almost always is heavily compressed. Otherwise, you couldn't really use it. That's done with a thing called a codec, a compressor decompressor codec, and they're using probably a high quality codec, probably a higher quality codec than it needs to be. If you want to burn it to a DVD, for instance, there's a very set standard on DVDs. It needs to be an MPEG-2 recording, and I think the audio has to be AAC. So it has to be transcoded from whatever the Roxio software saved it as into exactly the right format for a DVD. Or let's say you want to get it smaller. 50 minutes should really only be about 600 or 700 megabytes, not even, maybe even less.
Okay.
All right. That's if you want to preserve every drop of quality. But you can lower the quality, and that's why I would keep what you've got, because that's a perfect copy.
Yeah.
And then make lower quality copies that you can suitable for distribution or burning to disk. So there's a free program that'll do this. It's great. It's called Handbrake.
Handbrake. Okay.
Handbrake, just like the handbrake in your car, and it's from handbrake.fr. It's free. It will take any format and convert it into any other format. So you can set in the Handbrake settings, you could say, make this a DVD quality, make style format, or make this smaller, or make it bigger. You can do whatever you want.
Okay. Okay.
So Handbrake is free and is worth trying. There are many programs that will do this. I use Handbrake to take DVDs and compress them to about 1 gigabyte per movie. So that's about 500 megabytes per hour. Okay. And then watch them, and they look great. The DVD quality is perfect. So I'm sure with a VHS tape, you should be able to get this a lot smaller. There's a lot of programs that will do this.
Okay, great.
All right,
I will try it.
Handbrake, and there's 2 things everybody who plays with video on their computer should have. They're both free. One is Handbrake. We'll put this in the show notes. Don't write that. You're driving. Don't write that. No, stop it. Don't write this down. Just remember techguylabs.com. It'll all be there. Handbrake.fr. That's free. And then the Video LAN Converter, or VLC. Video LAN Player, VLC, which is a great program for playing back video, but you can also use it to save in other formats and do other things too. Both of these are fabulous, and really should be part of your toolkit if you're working with video on a computer. They're just very, very useful. There are other programs. Somebody's mentioning a command line tool called FFmpeg. I'm thinking, I may be wrong, that Handbrake is a graphical user interface to the FFmpeg conversion tool, which is kind of what everybody uses. In any event, those 2 freebies are a great place to start. There are commercial programs. Roxio has converters. Lots of people make them, but I think that those 2 are all you need. And I'm going to try this because I have a few VHS tapes I'd love to save, mostly of my kids, so that you have them forever. 8888 Ask Leo. I mentioned the website. You don't have to write anything down. Just kind of memorize. I'm the tech guy, right? Imagine me in a white lab coat with beakers and Bunsen burners. I'm in the Tech Guy Labs mixing up a radio show. That's the website, techguylabs.com. And we break the site up into day, show, hour, and question. So you can drill right down to the one you want. You'll see text of the question, my answer with all the links. But you'll also see after the fact, we put audio and video up there so you can watch it and listen to it. And we give you a chance to comment. And that's a great place for you to go if you're right now yelling at the radio, Leo, I've got the perfect tool. The one I use is... And Leo's not listening, but on the website I am. So go there and add that to the comments. That makes the site more valuable. And it's free. There's no charge, no sign up. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, cell phones, home theater, digital photography. 8888 Ask Leo is the number. Lots of calls. I'm going to get through as many as we can this hour, starting with Mike in San Diego, California. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Leo.
Welcome.
Listen, I'm calling about 2 new technologies, actually. One is the first significant improvement in lithium-ion batteries that I've seen in the 25 years I've been a technologist and studying and even writing about this in 1999. And the name of it is Prieto, P-R-I-E-T-O, batteries.com is the website. And that's where they describe everything. But I ran across it in a doctor's waiting room reading Popular Mechanics from August of last year. And there's a good article in that issue of Popular Mechanics describing what's going on. And basically it solves all the major problems with lithium-ion batteries. It can't catch on fire. It can use standard manufacturing of lithium-ion batteries, so no new manufacturing technology. It can't, it's just got all kinds of things, and it promises 5 to 10 times longer battery life than the current lithium-ion or lithium polymer, which I thought was going to be a big improvement, but, it's out there and it's used in a lot of devices, but I haven't seen any significant improvements in battery life.
So have you seen it used in anything?
No, it's not quite a commercial.
Yeah,
yet,
see, there's a problem right there. So as soon as somebody uses it and tells me it does, in fact, do everything the website says, I'll believe it. They're doing, it's still lithium-ion. They're doing some interesting interleaving of stuff, but we've seen this so many times because it's a huge need. But I'm always very skeptical because they never pan out. Remember supercapacitors? That was going to be the next big thing, wasn't it? You could charge them instantly. They hold a huge amount of storage. You know what the issue is? And by the way, there's a lot of pressure to create better batteries, isn't there? Not just for our smartphones. We'd love to get, more than 18 hours. Hey, some smartphones would like to get more than 11 hours between charges. But our cars, electric cars, are also running on lithium-ion batteries. Our laptops, everything. Better battery life would be huge. And we've seen so many people promise this, and no one has yet delivered. We've made so little progress in battery technology. Here's the kind of the issue. Really, if you think about it in its most fundamental form, a battery is just a way of storing energy. And that's it. And there's all sorts of ways to store energy. This concept goes back to the days of Archimedes, where they would pump water into a vessel. That's energy pumping into a vessel, and then let it go, and the energy recaptures it. Let go. That's stored energy. Anytime you store work, you're storing energy. The problem is to drive a car, to push a car around, you need a lot of energy. And it tends to be that the energy stored in cars is dangerous, like gasoline, because gasoline has such huge energy potential pent up in it that it's explosive. Same with lithium-ion batteries. They're explosive because there's so much energy in there. If it can be released quickly, you'll have a fire and maybe even an explosion. So stability is an issue. Longevity is an issue. There are lots of competitors out there because industry wants it badly. I've yet to see anything that has changed improved on lithium-ion, the basic lithium-ion, significantly. Apple spent a lot of time talking about the batteries, the new Terrorist batteries in their MacBook. But it really isn't new technology, and they don't have great battery life. We've certainly made improvements. Look at, laptops now are going 10, 11 hours between charges. That's great. That's amazing. But I feel like we haven't made the order of magnitude breakthrough we need to make. And I can tell you right now that the folks at Tesla are working as hard as they can. They're building battery factories. Everybody is, because if you could figure out a way to do this, it would be printing money. So I'll watch with interest to see what Prieto does and if these batteries do revolutionize the world. But you'll forgive me for being a little skeptical, Mike. It's so easy to say this stuff, and it's hard to deliver. Nancy in Reading, Pennsylvania. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to make you hungry.
I'm already hungry. Don't make me any hungrier. What are you doing?
you were talking to a gentleman previously about he lived in Hamburg. Actually, Hamburg has a festival. It's Hamburger Days. Did you ever hear of the Luther Burger? It's made with glazed donuts.
I've seen now that I saw this at Google. One of the Google cafes was serving a hamburger in between a Krispy Kreme.
Yep, or a glazed donut, and supposedly it was a favorite of producer Luther Vandross.
Oh, I bet it was. Luther had a little bit of a weight problem, didn't he?
Well, listen,
boy!
I'm calling. I'm still have a love-hate relationship with this iPad, and it's a year now that I have it. I had called you previously, but I'm having a problem understanding the Gmail. If I send an email, and it's called the thread, correct? When it keeps going back and forth with correspondence.
Yeah. So as you reply to somebody, it saves the previous message, and that creates a message thread.
Okay, so from what I'm understanding with the Gmail is if you at any time delete something, it's deleted completely. So I'm assuming if I delete the first contact, I will delete the whole thread.
Well, that's an interesting question. I think that depends on the settings that you have. You can turn the threading off. Yeah, but so some people want it to do that, some people don't.
Well, I don't.
Yeah, so I would go in the settings on Gmail and turn threading off.
Okay.
Because it's really just a way of displaying it. Each message is, in fact, stored separately.
Okay. Well, okay, the other question was if I reply to someone or they reply to me or forward, if I would erase that particular email, would that also erase the thread?
No. Well, okay, so here's what's happening. Each email that you send and they send is discrete and separate and its own piece of information.
When it's turned off.
Off or on, yeah. Yeah. But no, even when it's turned on, here's the thing. And people often, when they send the email, include replies so you can see in a single email the whole thing. But if you look at each individual email, they'll all have everything previous to them. But each person, when they press the send button, is creating a new file, a new email.
Okay.
If you have turned on a threaded view in your email client, then it will, as a convenience to you, delete them all. But, Gmail calls it the conversation view.
Yes, I have that turned off.
Yeah, turn that off. And then when you delete an individual email, it deletes the email. Inside the email, there may be previous emails, because that's typically how email clients work. They indent it each time. But the other emails, the one prior and the one after, all continue to exist. They're all separate files.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So now a email client trying to be nice, if you've turned on threads or conversations, will say, oh, she deleted that. She probably wants them all gone. That's as a convenience to you. But that is not normal behavior. That's not the default behavior.
Okay.
You don't actually, if you want it, so I take it you want to delete one mail, but not all the threads.
Well, when I go into my sent mail and I see that it's been, forwarded or replied to.
Hold on a second. I got to take a break. We'll finish this up after the break. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, this is an issue. This is an issue with Gmail specifically because they, as a convenience, want to thread it all for you. We're off the air now, Nancy, but I can continue to talk to you.
Okay. Yeah, that's what my concern was when I have an email and I see on there that it shows that it has either been forwarded or responded to. I'm afraid to erase that because I'm afraid I'll erase everything on attached to it.
The people who got it you're not erasing it for them, just for yourself.
Okay.
I'm looking at a crazy Lifehacker article. This can't still be. This is from 2007. I think if you there is you can selectively delete messages if you wish. Because there's a drop-down arrow. I don't want to show my Gmail, so I'm trying to think of how I can do this for you. There's a drop-down arrow next to these threads, these conversations, and you can take individual ones out.
On an iPad?
I don't know about an iPad. And which client are you using, the iPad's client or the Gmail client?
Gmail.
I think if you expand all threads, and I think there is a setting to do that, you'll see each individual email. I take it you want to just take one out.
Yes. Or maybe I want to delete the whole part of it.
Right. Remember, though, that a couple of things. First of all, deleting any one of those messages won't delete whatever is included in the body of any individual message, because that's part of the message. Okay. So when you reply, sometimes your email client will add the previous message to your message.
Yes.
Nothing you could do about that. That's in that message.
Okay.
You can delete individual messages, not the whole thread, but if each individual message may contain the entire thread. And that, you'd have to delete all messages to get rid of all of that. And it, of course, doesn't change anything for your recipients. They have a copy of it.
Right. Okay. Well, when that little icon comes up, I was, kind of scared about, like it said, forward or the arrow for forward or reply. I was scared about erasing it because I didn't want to erase the whole thing.
Yeah, I have this problem myself because sometimes it's hard to forward the one piece of the message thread. I don't like this threading.
I don't either.
I don't like this thing, this newfangled threading. So let me be clear. Are you using the mail program that came with your iPad, or did you download a Gmail program specifically?
No, I'm using what came with my iPad.
Oh, okay. Let me look at that because I can't remember so it doesn't, in that case, it doesn't really matter if you're using Gmail or not. The iPad itself is doing the threading. I don't have it set up, so I can't.
Well, I did turn the conversations off. So you're telling me by having the conversations off...
I think that will do... Yeah, and in your email client, you might also want to look and see. Because turning conversations off in Gmail on the Internet doesn't necessarily change how Apple Mail handles it.
Okay.
See, because it's really the client doing this. The messages aren't, in fact, threaded or conversation. The client's trying to help you by combining them all. I find that annoying. I understand why. Sometimes people want to see it all. Chat room, can you help me on she is working in the iOS app. So it's important conceptually to understand that each mail is actually technically a separate file. Within that file may be the entire thread because people do keep all of that stuff.
Exactly, and you see the ones...
So the email client's trying to be helpful. If you turn off threading in the email client, then you should see each mail individually, and you could delete any one of them. It's in the settings, the mail settings on the iPad. Turn off threading. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. So we figured it all out with Nancy. She's using an iPad, and she's using the iPad mail program that Apple provides. And in the mail settings, there's an optimize by thread option. Turn that off. So you could turn it off in multiple places. Gmail will do it in the web version and the Gmail client. They call them conversations. This is so confusing. And so this is an interesting issue because what computer manufacturers or software makers are trying to do is kind of put themselves in your place and trying to give you a feature you want. But the difficulty of it is it hides what's actually happening under the hood. iPad's really good at this. Apple in general is really good at this. But Google, as you can see, Google's done their part too. And by doing so, they're changing the behavior of email in a way that isn't actually how it works. They're doing it as a convenience for you, but it may not be what you want, or it may not even be obvious what's going on. And I bet you most people listening to this go, what is he talking about? Isn't that how they email? It's not how email works. In email, every message is a separate file. Think of email as sending somebody a file. Each message you send, each reply you get, that's a separate file. Inside there may be lots of text, including the text of previous messages. But then the email programs themselves are saying, oh, I see the subject line is the same, so I'm going to mush these individual, it's a change in how it's displayed, not how it's stored. It's still stored as individual files, but it's displayed as one big message thread. And oftentimes when that's turned on, when you delete the message, the top of it, the whole thing's gone. The thread's gone. And so Nancy was wondering, well, how can I just delete one message in that thread? Well, you have to turn off that feature, that thing that the mail client is doing as a convenience to you. Because what it's really doing is hiding what's going on. And you see this all the time in modern computing. And in some ways, it feels a little patronizing. I'm torn on it. I'm torn. It's patronizing in the sense that we know better. We'll just hide the complexity from you. And yet at the same time, sometimes by hiding what's going on, you're actually making it more complex from the point of view of the user. Or worse, you're misrepresenting what's going on to the user. So the purist in me says, look, just show it as it is. On the other hand, I understand people have a lot of trouble with computing, and one of the reasons the iPad has taken off and the iPhone and these wonderful consumer-focused platforms have taken off is because they simplify this all. They make it so much easier for you. They hide the complexity. And it's like training wheels. In fact, that's actually a perfect analogy, because sometimes after you learn to ride a bike, you want to take the training wheels off, and sometimes you can't. And imagine an adult driving down the street with training wheels. It's annoying. Get them off. Or maybe you don't even know that bikes don't have to have training wheels. Maybe you learn to ride the bike, and you just think, well, that's what bikes come with training wheels. You don't know it. That's actually a better analogy. We're all running around with training wheels we don't need. And then you'll meet geeks who disdain training wheels. Oh my goodness, you're using a Macintosh. I don't know what's wrong with you. And the reason is, if you can see through the apparent arrogance of it all, they don't need training wheels, and they prefer to work closer to the metal. To really mix metaphors, they prefer to ride their bikes, free as a bird. And once you become adept, once you become a adept computer user, and you understand how everything works, and not everybody wants to or needs to do this, but if you do become that kind of person, then you don't want training wheels. You get rid of all the training wheels. I just want it to be the way it is. 8888 Ask Leo. It's complicated, but that's job security for me. Fabio in Santa Cruz. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Fabio.
Hello, Leo. Nice to speak with you.
Nice to talk to you.
Leo, I have a question. I live in Santa Cruz in Bolivia, so I'm outside the U.S.
I thought it was Santa Cruz, California. Let me look a little closer. Bolivia. Wonderful. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I'm originally from Paraguay, so I'm Zulu Papa 5, Fox Sierra Sierra for your ham calls and collection.
Oh, I need a QSO card. That's so cool. Wow, that's great. A ham operator.
Yeah, well, I haven't done it for many years now, but I have
fun hobby. Fun hobby. Yeah. Do you have QSL cards?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, we've never printed some. I've got to get some for W6 TWT, but you could consider it a contact. So what can I do for you, Fabio?
Okay, well, I live outside the U.S. now, and I try to see some content on Netflix or
they block you.
They block it. So there are two solutions. One of them is using a VPN service. But we get really low bandwidth here, around 5-6 megabytes at best when it's working. So it doesn't work very well. And lately I found this solution called Smart DNS. I don't know if you heard about it.
No, tell me about it.
Okay, these are paid services. You make an account. And then you can configure either your device or your router. I do my router because I do it once and everything in my house works like that with the service. And the difference with the Smart DNS is that it doesn't affect speed.
Right.
But
so you're not going through a VPN. You're going through what's called a proxy server. So here's the issue with this all. Netflix makes deals with movie companies to stream movies. They make deals with movie companies in the U.S. They make deals with movie companies in Bolivia. They ask the movie companies in the U.S., we're paying this much money. Where can we display this? Netflix would love everybody in the entire globe to be able to see every movie, obviously. But the companies that make the movies say no. You can only sell this movie, offer this movie to people in the U.S. and Canada, for instance. Which means you come in from Bolivia, it checks, it sees where you're coming from, and says, no, sorry. You can only watch Netflix Bolivia. And that's got the rights for certain movies, but certainly not all movies. So what you're doing is a violation, technically, and literally, and spiritually, and ethically, and morally, of the rules, of the terms of service with Netflix. And the way you're doing it is by pretending you're not in Bolivia, but you're in the U.S. A couple of ways to do that. One is to use a virtual private network that actually pipes your data in and out to a server in the U.S., but you're right, it adds a layer of overhead and it slows things down. You can also do a proxy, and Smart DNS is a kind of a proxy where you're identifying as somebody else's server. Both of them, I'm sorry to say, are illegal. I wish we didn't have these rights issues. And certainly you're welcome to have TWiT in every country of the world. But those are old guys and things haven't changed yet. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So a proxy server is really kind of, I guess what Smart DNS is doing is changing the reverse DNS lookup, or it's changing your IP address. I'm not sure. Our chat room mods would know more about this than I do. A Smart DNS proxy server enables a computer to access region-restricted or blocked content from anywhere in the world. Unlike a VPN, though, Smart DNS proxy doesn't do an encrypted tunnel. It merely alters the DNS and intercepts the relevant information or data needed for a device to log in. So it's really, you're still got a direct connection. So it's faster. You're not going through servers for your data. You're just going through servers for the initial negotiation. It is illegal nowhere, man. It's absolutely illegal. It's not only a violation of terms of service, it's a violation of the fabulous DMCA. Did you see, Heather, there's a Meerkat competitor now called Periscope. Now it gets interesting.
I scoped earlier, but
you scoped? Is that what they're called? You like the cat?
Yeah.
I like Meerkat a little better than Periscope too. Meerkat.
Uh-oh.
So I actually had to ban Jeff Needles from meerkatting in the studio because he built a rig. He has like a Steadicam. It's this giant thing. So what these are programs, apps, right now iPhone only, that allow you to use your iPhone as a camera live streaming to the world. And so you turn on, you download and install the software. You sign up, in both cases, via Twitter. Periscope is owned by Twitter. Meerkat is not. But in both cases, you use Twitter to sign up. And in both cases, once you start streaming, they'll tweet for you. Hey, Heather's streaming. And people then can flock in and watch you stream. And, you know, I did a little Periscope yesterday. I think we were just driving around. 500 or 600 people, just like within minutes, you got a whole audience. Somebody like Jimmy Fallon uses this, which for great purpose. He uses both Meerkat and Periscope to stream rehearsals, stuff you wouldn't see on. You only see the show. You don't see the stuff behind the scenes. And so there's a lot of demand for behind the scenes. So he'll stream the rehearsals, and he'll get thousands of people watching the rehearsals, which I think is cool. I love that. You've also seen interesting things. Like there's a guy who runs a crane, a big, giant construction crane, who showed everybody how it works from the inside.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Little kids love that stuff.
Big kids too sometimes.
Oh.
So it's a lot of use. It could be done for news gathering. When there was this huge explosion and fire in the East Village of New York City a couple of days ago, there were people there meerkatting, streaming video of this in real time. And I don't know how societally valuable this is, but it is an interesting window into life all over the world. The Meerkat folks came out first. They came out at the end of January. We talked about it last week. And immediately just took off. And then the Twitter people who had acquired, without anyone's knowledge, Periscope a month before got freaked out. And so they cut Meerkat's access off to the Twitter, what they call social graph. So originally when you sign up for Meerkat, it would add everybody you follow on Twitter and it would let them know. And they don't have that capability anymore. They still could tweet on your behalf and all of that. And then Twitter released Periscope. It's so confusing. Periscope a couple of days ago. Now people are trying that out. They're similar. You start the stream, you name it, you start it, people start watching, you can see the names as they come in. Periscope has a fun little heart thing. If you tap the screen, you get hearts. The broadcaster, the streamer sees little hearts coming. That's nice. There's subtle differences. Periscope will save your stream for 24 hours. Meerkat, once it's over, it's over. So there's a lot kind of more urgency to watch a Meerkat stream while it's happening. I know most normal people are going, who are these people? What do we care? I got a life. I got things to do. And I don't blame you. But it's fun to watch the battle, the Silicon Valley tag team match. And there are others, by the way. This has been going on for years. There were programs before. There are programs now. But for some reason, these two really got a lot of attention. But we have the number 2 Meerkatter in the world that works here at least for the next till he gets hired away, which he will imminently. For the next few days, he works here. But I had to ban him in the studio because it was like suddenly we have a camera crew in here going around. Some of our staff had big signs, no meerkatting in here. And I realized it was kind of getting to be a nuisance.
When you saw the selfie stick come up over the bathroom stall?
Yeah.
That was a bit
You
much.
can overdo it. He never did that. But I mean, he had it was a giant thing he had lights. It was like a film crew has just moved in. And I just, I said, you can do this on your lunch hour, but don't do it on my time. It's actually kind of funny. It doesn't, people just go crazy about this stuff. This is how Silicon Valley is. Stuff goes viral. People go crazy about it. And then in 2 weeks, we'll have all forgotten and moved on. I hope. 8888 Ask Leo. Roy is on. The funny thing is, I stream all the time, and we're streaming all the time. So maybe that's why I don't like it. It's because I spent a lot of money building a live streaming television video studio. Even after the show ends, we'll continue to stream at TWiT.tv. We do pretty much all the time with professional grade cameras and lights. These amateurs are going to ruin it for all of us. Roy in Denver, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Roy.
Hey, Leo. I wanted to start off by saying kudos. I love the way you take the cookie jar off the high shelf and put it down where us kids can get to it.
That's a good way to put it, because it really is a cookie jar, isn't it?
Yes,
You just have to be careful, because you can get stuck if you hold too many cookies.
Well, I remember standing on top of the chair on top of the counter, reaching for the sugary, breakfast cereal for my brothers on a Saturday morning, and having the chair slip off, and then the next thing I know, Mom and Dad are standing over and going, "What are you guys doing?"
Oh, well, they knew exactly what you were doing. It's the cookie jar. They did it too. Everybody does it.
Yeah, but anyway, so whenever I bought a new computer, and then it had so much junk on it because it was like from a school, and it was used for.
So rule 1 when you buy a new computer is wipe it. If in fact the person selling it, the seller should have done this.
Well, he didn't, and there were a lot of headaches. But anyway, I got past it, and I just went ahead and bought Windows 7 outright and just installed it. So
Perfect.
I had a clean install.
And you wipe the drive and you start over. That's exactly what you should do.
Yeah. So now I got an email from a friend of mine just the other day saying, "Oh, hey, look, because you've got Windows 7 or Windows 8, you can upgrade to Windows 10. And I remember several weeks ago your conversation about, don't go to 8 because now you have to pay for all the stuff that you used to get in your software package and that sort of thing. So I'm a little bit leery about going to Microsoft's newest.
I think you might have misunderstood me. My only problem with 8 is this huge change in user interface. And for a lot of people, it was not a change for the better. Windows 10 fixes a lot of those issues. First of all, you don't have to worry yet. Do not get the version of Windows 10 they're offering right now. That's for testers. That is not Windows 10 that you want to use. That's what we call a beta. That's early version. But when Windows 10 comes out this summer, and Microsoft has said that's when it's coming out. Now, that could be anything from June 20th to September 20th. It will be a free upgrade for all users of Windows 7 and 8, all licensed users. So, yeah, that's the good news. You bought Windows 7, you have your license key. You'll be able to get Windows 10 for free. It'll be a free upgrade. I wouldn't be the first one to download it. Wait a week or two, make sure it's not got any, major bugs. But I've been playing with the beta because, not because I want to, but because I want to be able to talk about it. And I feel like they've made major improvements. And most of my problems with Windows 8 have gone away. So stick with Windows 7 for now.
Mm-hmm.
You got it, and it's great. Best version of Windows ever.
I love it. Yeah.
Yep. Windows 10 might be the next best version, but I wouldn't rush out. Wait and see what I say and others say about it. But on early use, it tells me this is so much better. They got rid of a lot of the weirdness, and I think it's the future of Windows. So I think you are going to want to go, but not till it comes out. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We had a Blue Apron box come the other day. I love Blue Apron. Are you familiar with Blue Apron? It's for people who want to cook delicious meals. I mean, really, and this isn't prepackaged meals. They're not cooked yet. It's all the ingredients you need to make an amazing meal, so you don't have to do the shopping. I think really there are a couple of advantages. Initially, the advantages seems to be, I don't have to shop. I've got a recipe, I've got all the ingredients I need, and I can, in half an hour, make an incredible meal. But I think what I've found is that it's really a great way to learn incredible new recipes. They're very creative in the recipes. They deliver for free, packaged in refrigerated boxes. The food is not frozen ever. So we made a salmon dish the other night. The salmon was fresh because the boxes are refrigerated. And they will, by the way, if you're not going to be home when I go on vacation and stuff, they suspend it. They get you the box when you're ready for it. They never send the same meal, which is nice. But it comes with all the ingredients. I mean, even like a clove of garlic or cilantro. It comes with everything you need, and then with a great-looking recipe card. Here's the recipe card. It's laminated. It's got pictures. It makes it easy to cook even if you're not a cook. And now you have the confidence. I'm going to make that again. That was good. Spicy Asian chicken noodle soup with crimini mushrooms. Enchiladas rojas de nopales y frijoles. I can't say it, but I can cook it. Incredible recipes. And they never send you the same one twice. I love it. And because they are sourcing fresh ingredients from local farms, like this bok choy from Gilroy, California, you're getting the best stuff. This is what it looks like, kind of. This is, if you laid it all out, this is all the ingredients. It's so cool. Each meal is balanced, 500 to 700 calories per serving. The cost is less than $10 per meal. And there's never any waste. Although there may be leftovers. It's great for leftovers. It's great for date night, for cooking with friends. They even have family plans with kid-friendly ingredients so the whole family can eat well. You will cook incredible meals. You'll be blown away by the quality and the freshness. And most importantly, you're going to learn a great skill. Learn how to cook like a pro. They even have videos and everything. So get started. We're going to get you your first 2 meals free. Go to blueapron.com/twit. 2 meals free just for going to blueapron.com/twit. See how this suits. See how you like it. I think you will. Really fun. Short rib burgers on pretzel buns. Oh, we got that. I haven't made it yet. With hoppy cheddar sauce and roasted sweet potato rounds. Oh, my gosh. You're going to be so happy. blueapron.com/twit. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. I think it was Nancy we were talking with about the Krispy Kreme donut bun on a hamburger. There is I learned about that first from a Tumblr called "This Is Why You're Fat." Have you seen this, Dickie D? It is.
I've seen it, but I have not eaten it.
Oh, here's a Krispy Kreme donut dog. A hot dog wrapped in a Krispy Kreme glazed donut bun topped with a line of raspberry jelly, and to make it a little bit more tasty, chunks of bacon. Here's the KFC Double Down dog, a hot dog wrapped in fried chicken and covered in cheese. What could be wrong with that?
Yeah.
Nutella,
I did a takeoff on that one.
Well, I know the double. Did you on Mad Magazine?
Yeah, the triple bypass. the KFC triple bypass.
It's Dick DeBartolo, Mad Magazine's maddest writer. He joins us every week to talk about gadgets. Hey, Dickie D.
Yes, sir.
The triple bypass.
Yeah.
New at KFC.
Yeah, I think it was ask for it first at KFC and then ask for it second at the hospital.
It just saves time.
It saves time.
What would you like, sir? A triple bypass. Thank you very much.
A triple bypass. Thank you.
What do you got for us today?
I'm going to talk about the final two gadgets from Global Pet Expo. Went down to Orlando, Florida. Huge.
Did you bring Fairway, your dog, to the Pet Expo?
No, I did not.
Why not?
Well, you know what? First of all, she doesn't travel. Well, Fairway just turned 16.
Oh, I didn't realize she was. She's
not a traveling dog.
Old
Charlie
as
would
we
have
are.
gone. Charlie's just 2.
Yeah.
But no, for legal reasons, they say don't bring your pet.
It's probably
they
a
don't
good
want
idea.
Liability.
Yeah.
I
see more and more pets on planes and in hotels, though. More and more hotels are doggy friendly.
A lot
I think
of
that's great.
pet-friendly hotels.
Yeah.
No, I think it's super too.
Yeah.
And also, it's called Diner. It's a place in England, and I think 1 or 2 open here. They are tea shops where cats roam free. So if you miss your cat,
I thought that was every tea shop.
if you miss your cat,
Yeah.
you can go in there, and as you eat, the cats can roam around and you can pet them. So yeah, because I often, when I travel, see somebody with a dog and say, "Can I pet your dog?
Yeah.
I miss my dog."
I was when we flew back, flew to Vegas, I guess, last week. Fella had a companion dog with him, sitting in the seat with him. It was so cute. He was sitting right next to me, and I just was patting him. He was half Papillon, which we have. We have a Papillon.
Yes,
half Jack Russell. It was a perfect combination. Adorable little puppy.
Gosh.
And he was so calm. I guess he hadn't read about the Germanwings flight, so the dog was very relaxed.
Excellent.
I don't know about his owner, but the dog was extremely calm. What do you got for us from the Pet Expo?
From Pet Expo, the Safe Spot leash. Now, it drives me crazy, probably not so much in Petaluma, but here, when people just leave their dogs at a parking meter to go shopping.
I hate that.
I really do. It's so dangerous. And also, the car pulls away, and now the dog is on a 6-foot-long leash, so he walks into the gutter, and now there's another car trying to park blowing the horn. So anyway, if you must leave your dog outside, this sounds like a great idea. The Safe Spot leash is a dog leash that locks at both ends. You slide the collar to the proper length for the dog, put it on the dog. If it's just for a walk, you just leave it. If not, you just use the lock that's part of the leash. You can lock that. Then when you get to where you're going and have to leave the dog for a short time, the end of the leash opens up so you can pull out a piece of cable, wrap it around something immovable, then it locks back into the handle, and then there's a key for that.
Oh, so that's what I worry about. Somebody would steal Ozzy. He's such a cute dog.
Yes, exactly. And then there's a steel cable that is inside the nylon leash. You don't see it. But it's
so they can't just snip it.
They can't just snip it. And also, when they see this, they'll just walk to the next parking meter and take a dog that's not so secure. So that's called Safe Spot Leash. It's $69.99, but I checked earlier today and it was $61 on Amazon.
So it's really just it's your day-to-day leash, but it has this extra feature.
Exactly. You can lock it at both ends.
That's nice.
And the second thing was so fun. It's called the Dog Maze Mini. And the object here is, and I actually if you go to my website, there, Charlie, our dog, did the test. You put snacks down, and we timed it. We put 3 snacks on the floor. Charlie ate it in 4 seconds.
What?
Now you drop the treats in the doggy maze, and it took him about 3 minutes to figure it out, how to push it along with his tongue up and down the tracks until it came out on the floor. And now when he sees the dog maze, he gets very excited because it's a game. But now instead of 3 seconds, we get about 3 minutes out of him eating his doggy snacks.
Oh.
So it's a lot of fun. So there's a big size. It's about $22 on Amazon. And the Dog Maze Mini hasn't quite hit Amazon yet, but it's for smaller dogs. And the company said it's going to be about $12.
Turn your dog into a lab rat.
Yes, exactly.
Perfect.
Exactly.
I don't see it here at gizwiz.biz, but I'm sure you'll...
Oh, you don't?
You'll have it up soon. I see dog ketchup.
Oh, okay.
Or
No, did you
ketchup for
click
cats.
on the
Ketchup-
tech guy?
Oh, I have to click on the tech guy. I forgot. Now, there's the lock your dog, safe spot leash, and here's the maze. Make dogs enjoying snacks longer lasting. That is wild. Does he get in the maze?
He yes, with his tongue. And just to show you how well it works.
It's a tongue maze.
Yeah. It took Dennis 45 minutes to get a donut out of it.
Now that's a diet I can get into.
Yes.
All right. So it isn't that big. I see. You put this in your where your pet would have his food.
Yeah, you just put on the floor and throw the
It seems like
snack
an exercise in frustration. Did
No,
Charlie
you know
like
what?
it?
Charlie, when I was putting it down, I said to the camera, Charlie's going to either think this is fun or he's going to hate me for the rest of his life as an instrument of torture.
They don't have doggy psychiatrists because he'd be complaining about you.
No, the fact that 2 days later when I took it out, he started wagging his tail, knew that that he thought it was
We're
a game.
going to have fun.
Yeah, we're going to have fun.
We're going to have some fun, Daddy. You're going to hide a treat, and I'm going to have to use my tongue. Oh, my gosh. This looks hard. So he's going for it.
He figured out. He
slides it around.
Push it, and then he pushes it, and then it comes out on the floor.
Smart dog.
See, he did it.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
That is actually quite clever.
It is clever. I was quite impressed.
I don't know.
with it.
Some
and
sadist.
impressed with Charlie.
Yes. How fast?
Yeah.
How fast did he do it?
Half fast.
Dick is a... Well, I just throw you softballs and you just hit them out of the park.
There you go.
Dick is at gizwiz.biz. That's his website. You can see a video of Charlie trying to chase those treats down the maze. You can also play the What the Heck Is It contest, a close-up picture of a gadget or a gizmo. Oh, it's a new one.
Yes, it's a March-April one.
March-April. It's a thing with a mustache on it. Well, that is weird. It seems like we should know what that is. Anyway, if you do, you could win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine. Actually, even if you don't, you could win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine because clever wrong answers are even more valued.
Yes.
It's got a strap. It looks like a snow globe with a mustache on it. I can't quite figure out.
You could send that in.
Yeah, I don't think I'd win any prizes for it.
No.
Gizwiz.biz. Hey, Dick, it's great to talk to you. As always, have a great geek week, and we'll see you next time.
I'll be here.
All the information we talk about on the show is on our website. Little plug for it. That was Dick's. Gizwiz.biz. We have a link there, too. But our website is techguylabs.com. You'll find links to all the products Dick mentions, links to Dick's own site, all the websites I mention, all the information, all the questions, all the answers, and after the fact, even audio and video from each and every show. We are now up to, what show was this? We're now up to 1,173. A continuing saga trying to solve the world's technology problems one computer at a time. TechGuyLabs.com is the place to go, and thank you to Heather Hammond, our phone ranger, for taking the calls. If I didn't get to you, I see a couple people still online. Tomorrow, I'll be back. We could take those calls again. And soon we'll be recording ahead for my vacation. I know the vacation's not till July, but we got to start early. So I think maybe next month we'll start recording those calls. Thanks to Nathan Staten, our musical director. Thanks to you for being here. We'll see you at techguylabs.com, and we'll see you back here again next time. I'm Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great geek week. Bye-bye. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the TWiT Netcast Network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.